Hello, and welcome to the Far From Normal Radio Show. I am your host, Jay Moss, and I've got my co-host, as always, Mr. Bud Veno. Bud, how are you doing this evening?
Yo, and yo, my brother from another mother, Jay Money Moss, April 3rd, 2018. Oh, we're back in black. I think that's AC/DC. I think I referenced Whitesnake last week and AC/DC this week. So we're going back in time. Speaking of going back, we're going way back down to Florida. The one, the only, Jessie Weiner. How you doing, Jess?
Hi, guys. I'm great. How are you?
Outstanding. I'm living the dream.
Wonderful.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. And before we get rolling, Jay, we're going to quickly go into our other brother, Pete McNeil. And Pete, Jay, if we can say quickly, we'll be taking a little hiatus. And that's a good thing for Pete. It's not a bad thing. That's all we're going to say about it. It's just going to take a little hiatus. It could be a month, could be a year. He'll be doing things behind the scenes. He's being smart. He's being a good father, a good man. And when Pete comes back, Jay, that seat will still be warm for him, just as warm as ever. And he'll have new stories and more empowering stories. So we love you, Pete. Pete is still very much a part of the show, but he will be a little incognito and silent for a while. Jay?
Absolutely. And before we go ahead and get into it a little bit here, I know that we had Jay Missionis, I believe, who will be in possibly later. So we'll see. If not, we'll roll with things. That's how we do things here. We're a little bit far from normal. So that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, we'll bring in our second guest, and we'll flip things around here and flip the script here. And we'll bring in Miss Larah Thomson. How are you doing?
Hey, everybody.
Awesome.
There she is.
Out of it tonight.
There she is. Larah, how you doing? Awesome to have you on. Larah, this is for you. Yo. Happy Tuesday. Good to have you on. Thank you. Yo. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, we were even talking about it a little bit beforehand, and she was doing the yo. So she's got it now.
Yeah. she's better at it than I am. So that's great.
So thank you so much for being on. I'm sure my co-host would love to thank you as well for coming on this evening.
Absolutely. And I know, as we discussed in the meeting yesterday, Jay, we do every Monday. We had anticipated it was going to be kind of an all-girls show. We had Larah coming on and Jay, and also Jessie. It was going to be quite the interaction. We still may have that, but we definitely have half of it being Larah. So I'm not sure, Larah, if you know Jessie Weiner, but irrespective of that, there she is, Jessie Weiner, meet Larah Thomson. One way or the other.
Hey, Jessie.
Nice to meet you.
So Larah, I know that we had you on previously when we were doing radio, actually. It was one of Bud's most embarrassing moments.
Yes.
Because we had something come up and we were going to have you come on, and Bud says, did we have Larah on before?
No. Let me tell you the whole story quickly. And this is actually a testament to Larah, because I went on and there was stuff Larah did. I don't know if it was a video or something. And as Jay said, we had her on previously, but in all fairness to me, it wasn't like it was a month before. It was probably 8 months or so before. But I will say, I saw something that Larah had done, and I had completely forgotten that we had her on. And I usually go to Jay, and Jay will go to me if they're potential guests. But this is when I saw her, and I'm going to see if she's interested, and then go to Jay. But I was excited. It was going to be this big coup. Jay, I got this. So I go to Jay, and I'm like, and it hits me as I'm leaving him a message. I'm like, wait a minute. I think we are. And I'm like, oh. And I think I'd already reached out to you, Larah, and said, hey, would you like to be on? So I apologize.
Oh, I take it as a compliment.
Well, you should.
I may have had my English voice on one day and my semi-American voice on another, and you just didn't realize it was me. I mean, I'm stealthy. Stealthy good.
Well, Larah, no, but you should take it as a compliment, because, like I said, I circumvented the usual process because I was so excited to try and get you on. And I remember leaving you a message and going to Jay, and I got this person who's great, and we had you on already. So it's only fitting that we have you on again. And I know you have exciting news, Jay. We talked in the pre-show about it, and you've got some news in reference to what's going on with you, and I know within the movement too. So
yes, absolutely. Again, so we kind of want to get into a little bit of your case a little bit to a degree. We don't want to get too far into it, obviously. But you've had success actually with Rule 60D for child support, making it null and void. I think that that's an absolute attribute to the movement, and people can really use that energy and knowledge to be able to go forth and maybe do some of the same things you've done and accomplished.
Absolutely. So, the words, not my circus, not my monkeys, is where I got to as far as the family courts were concerned. It had been since 2004 that I had over, in my case, up until 2013-14, over 500 motions.
Wow.
Now, to put some kind of like money figure on that, when you include all the PFIs, PREs, CFIs, psychologists, attorney fees out of control, I would have $30,000 days that were half days. Gosh, what else was there? There was everything you could imagine. There was mediation that never worked, even though I'm a mediator. There was so many costs associated. I had family therapy at $210 an hour. And that meant that on a monthly basis, I was paying $840 just for one therapist with family therapies. So when we talk about another mortgage, I was paying that. So my costs ballooned to $500,000. My ex was about 1.5 mil. So we got a $2 million divorce at that point. And I was just pulling my hair out because we'd had a successful 6 to 7 years 50-50 parenting plan. So this didn't make sense to me, of course. So fast forward, my ex starts working for the governor of this state, Mr. Hickenlooper, Governor Hickenlooper, who's still the governor now. And he makes a power play with a team of attorneys for my sons. Now, obviously, after 6 to 7 years of successful parenting and my kids are doing great, and they're used to a divorce. We divorced when they were 4 and 5 years old. They were used to how the situation was. Mummy and daddy lived in the country club. Mummy lived in the same zip code, so half a mile away. So we were close. Things were going well. But he still needed the power and control over me. And so fast forward, we're in court again. I mean, a lot of the people on here and listening understand just how wrenching and how bitter and how horrible that system is. You walk in there and they take a piece of you every time, don't they? They really take a piece of you somehow. So fast forward, I started looking at the alternatives to, well, how do I unravel this system in order to try to get some peace of mind, keep my sanity, and keep some dollars in my pocket, keep my house over my head, Right. And that's when I came up with, well, let's take down this to brass tacks. This is fraud. That I know to be true. We have a contract that's signed with signatures and dated. That dates back to January 3rd, 2006. Anything else thereafter, post-decree, has no signatures, no dates, and isn't even signed by a judge. So I'm like, I'm a mediator. I know contracts. This is no contract. This is no contract. But when you're in the middle of this financial and emotional rape, you don't quite realize that everything, it's too emotional, it's overwhelming. I could help with my mediation work. I could help 100 other families, but I couldn't help myself. So then I took some time off. I looked at what this Rule 60D in fraud meant and this null and void action. I spoke to my local police and the police of where my children were being kept with their dad. And understanding that this is a fake administrative courtroom. Let's be very clear. You walk in and it gives they assume, and if you have an attorney with you, it's even worse. They assume that you're okay with the process. It's okay to rape me financially, take my children, take my liberties, take my happiness. They believe that they're okay doing that. And, explaining this, as everybody on here knows, and hopefully beyond, when we, share more education, understanding that and sharing it with other people, even with my own family, I get blank faces, and the kind of faces where they do the big eyes and they're like, we really don't want to hear about this. So then you're spending a lot of time, you're isolating yourself somewhat. And what I realized was, with the whole Rule 60D, was that it's a clerical mashup. And you have to correct the clerical matter, and that's what it says in Rule 60D. It's making the judgment void, and it's based in truth, fact, and understandings, just like they like to do and use those terminologies in our family law courts. And I thought what was really interesting about this is what they don't say is that the rule fails you with a clerical error and screws you right royally. Right. So I made sure that I pointed out every piece of fraud. And it's important to have your transcripts that show and have the wordage between your ex and yourself, the attorneys and yourself, the judge and yourself, especially if you're self-representing or pro se or pro per, some persons choose to do. I was pro se, and this Rule 60D was done outside the court, so much so that they actually didn't want to answer it. They ended up answering it with a non-answer, right. Which is what they often do. It was successful. They have not come after me. In fact, they said they'd fine me $5,000 if I entered one more document. So I was like, wow. I win.
Yeah, that's when you know you're kind of breaking through. Yeah, when you're breaking through is when they start warning you, don't submit any more documents, right, please, because you're overwhelming the court. What, with the truth?
Right. And but what they know is, I think they understand, oh, she's setting us up for a lawsuit. Mm-hmm. And we don't want any more documents that prove the fraud, especially when she's just outlined what the fraud is. Yep. And, it wasn't about the $242 in child support that I'm now supposed to pay. It was never about that, obviously. It was about, how dare you use my children as pawns, infiltrate my family with your new Obama 2011-2013 January rules, remove my sons, who I've had 50-50, and actually way more than that, because their dad has a full-time live-in au pair for his 50% of time. I was and have been their main caregiver. So it's oppressive and insensitive. You're harming my children, and I'm not going to allow for it. Exactly. So it was proving that there was fraud. It was, and it really doesn't, again, it doesn't have to do with $242 a month. It never did. It had to do with truth, my fundamental rights, my liberty, freedoms, and my children's chance to be co-parented, in a safe environment, a loving environment, and being happy. Right. And they've taken a part of that from our family. So yeah, and I would applaud you for being so brave in doing so, because obviously, I mean, this is when you're going before a court and you're continuously getting denied your equal protections under the law, your due process rights, your constitutional rights. It comes to a point in time in which you develop legal abuse syndrome. And that's what I tend to dub this as. And I think the psychological community is starting to awaken to that fact that when you're in court, you can be traumatized so much. Oh, yeah. So I applaud that definitely, because it shows perseverance and action in being able to take a negative and turn it back around to a positive. That's ultimately the best thing that we can do in this movement. So what is it that you feel like some of our listeners could possibly do to help themselves
to prove that fraud in their cases?
Well, I think if you go and look at whatever your state is, rules for civil procedure, and it gives you a guideline as to what the expectations are. Also, in regards to your children and the statutes, it gives you basically an outline about the abuses that either can occur or could occur, or what they're looking at as far as what has to be exhibited in order to make sure that you're exceeding and adhering to the best interest statutes, which quite frankly, I hate that terminology.
Yeah.
I've always known what's best for my kids. Thanks for throwing that back in my face.
Exactly. And I think
the expectations are so outrageous these days, with all this, third-party reporting on families and people pretending they know best for your children when they're only getting a small caption or a small interaction online or something, social media craziness. People need to hush their mouths, open their eyes more, and learn from each other.
That's exactly right. Right.
As far as knowing, the best thing, and I remember, and I always give this information, and I know you guys share your philosophies at the end of your shows, and it's special and important to you. And this is what's important to me as a mediator and somebody who has crafted and learned and done everything and anything I could. I mean, I've gone to jail for my children, several times. But there's nothing I haven't done. But each time I take a step forward in either the movement or my own knowledge, it's helpful. It's empowering. You certainly should humble yourself to the process. Be polite and engaging with these people, but at the end of the day, stand up for your kids. And with that, I say, learn every number that's mentioned in your paperwork, i.e. the statutes. Please get the definition of those numbers, because otherwise you've got nothing. You don't have the combination to anything. You have to read up what those numbers and statutes mean in every single piece of paperwork. Everything. That's
absolutely important. I would agree 100%.
Absolutely, Jay. And I want to add too, in terms of the mindset that we have when we go into court too. And I know it's hard, as Jay mentioned, Larah mentioned. A lot of us have been to jail because of these things going on, child support, things like that, myself included. And we've gone into court, a lot of us pro se, as Larah mentioned. And it can be scary, but what I implore people to do, as hard as it can be, is, and Jay and I have discussed this privately too, is it just adds to your book, right, Jay? Just take it as a badge of honor, the things that you have to go through. Be proud, as Larah has talked about what she's experienced for her children, and look at it in that way and say, you know what? In the end, this is all just going to be another chapter in my book that I can be proud of, because I'm going to get through it. I am going to get through it. So if you can, right, Larah?
Amen.
Right? Yeah, if you have that sort of mindset, and it's hard, but again, it's about training yourself and literally saying these people don't even know, but I'm just another badge of honor that you can put another notch in your belt. You did it. You did what a lot of people can't live through. You did, and you came out victorious, and we all can, as Larah is, with a smile and with a positive attitude, as hard as it can be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that when we get into some of these things, we're, number one, I think that what you talked about is when you walk into a family court, they feel as if your acquiescence, or your silence, in other words, your silence gives them consent, and you're okay with them doing what they're going to do to you. And let's be quite honest, they're going to do some very evil things to you. They're basically going to bend you over sideways, and then that's saying it nicely. That's
why right, and that's why we have to do our homework, right, Jess? I know Jessie down there in Florida. She's a big time. She likes to do her homework, and she's our statistical person, but she also knows her stuff when it comes to going in the courtroom. And as Larah said too, going in prepared. And Jay and I have discussed that too. If you're going to do it, if you're going to go in there and represent yourself, do it. Don't do it half-hearted. Mm-hmm. Do your homework, because that's what's going to intimidate them. And that's what's going to make them second guess and rethink, as Jay said, bending you over sideways, because they will. Mm-hmm. It's about how much you push back and what you know. If they think that you don't know anything and that you're a pushover, they're going to push you over. Right, Jay?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And
well, I think on the flip side of that too is when they know you know what you're talking about, and they know that you know the system is corrupted and you're not afraid to show it. They'll also push harder to the point where you find your husband sitting in jail
right.
in a Facebook post.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Jessie. Yeah, Jay, we've seen that a lot too, and a lot of us that have gone in.
And again, Larah, I would say that you would probably agree with me on this one. It's when they push harder is because they're scared.
Right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, when you peek around the Oz curtain and you see the wizard, and he's the little man with the weird little
right. Exactly. That's what it is about too. You're dealing a lot of times in court with strong personalities, and trust me, they're dealing with the strongest when I go in there. It's great. I have my attorney now that dealt with it at the end, and I love your brother. He's still on with me through everything. But it was great for me because I could just go in there. And I said that my wife, when we were at that last hearing before we got the joint custody, I was like, this is great, because I was all pumped. And I said, my biggest issue was going to be keep my mouth shut, which wasn't, believe it or not, wasn't hard, and my attorney, when he first came out of the case too, I had been a pro se, as Jay knows too, in Jessie for like a year. So he's like, wow. He's like, and I had done a great job. So he said, you made my job easier, but trust me, it was him that solidified things. It was great. I just was able to sit there and do my crossword puzzles, as I said, in the conference room, do my crossword puzzles as I said I would in the video leading up to that. So it was good.
Yeah.
But you don't walk in and say, yo, 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 yo.
No, I didn't. But when the other side did bring up at one point, oh, he's on Facebook and this and that, I said, I'm glad that, Your Honor, I'm glad they brought that up, because I implore you to go on and get in Parents United, Your Honor, and get empowered. And also the FFN Radio Show, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. Oh, yeah, my wife was right there. Believe me. That's what, and I said, I implore them to keep doing this, to keep making me a hero. And I got joint custody, so, and I am my son's hero, and he's mine. And all parents out there are their child's hero when they're doing the right thing. So that's what you just keep fighting for.
That's exactly right. And I've gotten to the point now where I walk into court and I love my attorney at this point. I'll be quite honest with you.
I do too. I love
Here's what he does. He says, I know that you're going to want to speak, so here's a pen and here's some paper, because I know you're going to just go off.
Right. Yeah, that's what my attorney does. That he puts a pad of paper in a pen, and I'm saying, but it was easy. Like I said, we actually went in. We had, I believe it was a pretrial hearing, and we actually, for people that don't know, we never even got in the courtroom. It was signed, sealed, and delivered for people that don't. And we were out of there, and the judge said, I don't even need to see you. I don't think he wanted to see me anymore, or else he just, yeah, that's fine. Get out of here, please. But so, yeah, that's, it is about doing your homework too, because you can have a strong personality, Jay, and not know your ass from a hole in the ground. So that strong personality is not going to get you anywhere. Right. It's one thing to be a strong difference between a strong personality and a bag of hot air, a windbag allowed, burst of air.
Right. And I think that's the thing definitely that Laura's trying to talk about, is that, your acquiescence, you don't want to give them your silence or your consent, but at the same time, you've got to do the research and the homework on this stuff. You've got to know, your federal laws. You've got to know your state statutes. You got to know your state constitution, the federal constitution. You got to know those things as a good base going in. And then you got to look at your federal rules of civil procedure. Those are very important. And if you don't know them, it's basically like trying to play Monopoly without knowing how to play, because you're going to get taken for all the money.
Yeah, it's for me too. I know it's sometimes it's hard to gauge without actually, until you get in and know what the type of personality and whether it's the judge and the other side, if they have an attorney, to kind of see what you're up against, Jay. Because not that you shouldn't know all that. I implore people, Jay's 1,000,000% right. But what I'm saying is, different people have different styles. So if you know your stuff, you'll recognize that. You'll know the personalities and the insecurities of the other side too, because a lot of it is psychological too. And that was one thing that I played on, and it worked.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I have a question for the host. Why did you choose to be represented with counsel, with attorneys?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
Why did you choose to be represented by counsel or attorneys?
Here's the thing. Yeah, I'll say from my perspective, I put in all of the effort, all of the homework, all of the research that it takes to probably represent myself, and I proved it to them, but they still wouldn't listen. It came to a point where it was like, okay, I'm showing you with federal law, I'm showing you why the state law and the state constitution don't match. Therefore, your law to the right to a jury trial shall remain innate. Well, okay, if it shall remain innate, I want a jury trial. Okay, but the state statute saying no, it doesn't apply in civil cases. Okay, well, doesn't matter. If a state statute does not comply with federal law or the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of your state, that law or that statute is void on its face. So they were not listening to what I was saying. So I said, okay, let me bring an attorney, one of your own little clique, and they'll tell you the same exact thing. And they did. Because I told them, I said, look, here it is. It's all matching up. And if you're going to go out there and defend me, I need you to defend me on these things that are my inherent rights, my God-given rights, that were given to me by God, but they were not to be taken away by man. So those are the things where I said, okay, I do maybe need somebody that's from the bar to a degree for some respect.
Well, Jay, I'll say this too, and Laura and people that don't know, on a personal level, I'm glad Jay found his attorney when he did, because I'll be honest, on an emotional level, Jay was absolutely decimated. People don't know. He was physically, mentally. I mean, he had been through the ringer more than once with a lot of things in terms of payments through the court. I mean, this is a man who was up all night, every night, trying to figure things out, not only for himself, but people within the movement. He was burnt. So it came at a great time. For me, I was doing it, to answer your question, in terms of my attorney, Laura, I was doing it, as I said, pro se for probably a year almost. And mine, when I started off too, I started off doing videos, which were very therapeutic for me. And it was also, just in terms of empowerment for other people, and it seemed to be working. But somebody had seen mine was very serendipitous. It was very beautiful the way it happened. It was just great karma for me. But somebody had seen one of my videos I didn't know and reached out to me through Facebook and said, man, I got to talk to you. I don't know you. You don't know me. His name was Eric Hammond. And he called me up. He said, I've got an attorney that deals with this sort of thing, and I'm going to talk to him. I know him very well. I'm going to tell him your story. I'm going to see what I can do for you. I was on the phone, I think, with that man. It was very shortly after. I went and met with him. I was an instant connection. This is a man like no other. And Jay can attest to this from what he knows. This is a man that he is not in this for the money. When I go in there, and I've said this before, I walk into his office, Laura, we don't say anything. He stands right up. I give him a kiss right on the cheek, and I hug him, and I sit down, and we go to work. This is a man that has stayed with me even after this 50-50 signing, through different business ventures and things like that, and through future endeavors. He stays on. I still send him emails weekly. I'm very blessed because he went in there, and when we signed that document for the 50-50, we were both we were teared up.
Yeah. I
was hugging my wife, and I was really beautiful. And right outside there was a rainbow. I've said it right when it was signed, and he pointed it out, my attorney, and he's just an amazing man. I'm very blessed, and it was amazing. Give another shout out to Eric Hammond out there for reaching out to me. I think it was 11 o'clock at night, and said, man, I got to get a hold of you. And we spoke for about an hour and a half on the phone that night, Eric and I. It was great. Beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Just gave me little chills.
Yeah.
Little chicken chills.
And I think that's the case. You've got to feel, if you're going to hire an attorney, you better feel comfortable with them in the fact that they have somewhat of a personal interest in you. as a person. If your attorney will stand up and give you a hug and say, hey, look, it's going to be okay, we're going to take care of you, then you know you found the right attorney. If you have not found that yet, find yourself a different attorney. Just find yourself a different attorney. It's not going to work out for you. It's not going to at all. I'm just promising you that. So those things do happen. They do occur where we do find some attorneys, but it takes a while. I'll tell you, being a disabled veteran, it took me 10 years to find a good attorney.
Yeah.
10 years.
Outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
I have
keep shouting out these guys' names and make sure that they know which state it is, because
yes,
people want to hear that for their friends and family, and
Right.
that list is too short.
Yes,
as we are all aware.
It is.
Yes.
Well, it is to the point where and it is frustrating for me when I see it too, because I see, especially with my attorney, who's become a friend, how simple it could be if the attorneys actually were in it for the right reasons. And again, it's hard because I have people that reach out to me all the time, and it's just desperately, and it's hard because, as Jay said too, we've discussed and Jay just mentioned, size up an attorney pretty quickly and see if they're down for you and they're going to work for you. That this, don't even play games. I had an attorney before this one, back when my son was born and his mom tried to terminate my rights. I put an addition on her home, and I'm not kidding you. It was a beautiful addition, and I don't even get to hang out in it and put my feet up in it at all. But she does now, retired. But that's yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we've got to spring forward on some of this stuff, because there are some good, very, very good attorneys out there. And there's some good ones in this movement that really could help you. Connie Regularly is an amazing attorney.
Amazing.
Yes. And Melissa Isaac is just phenomenal. Can't say enough about her.
Jessie's a good friend too, Melissa.
Yes.
Well, and a shout out to the mediators, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because we should have a amazing group of mediators in this movement. There are some.
Mm-hmm.
There are some, but we need more of a group of them too, to keep people out of the nightmare.
Right. I agree.
That's where the headache lies, is if we could, my particular opinion in this is, if I know that Title 4D is this big, huge, ominous threat out there, and I've always kind of expressed this, is what if we took Title D kind of away to a degree, and we said, hey, look, what if we incentivize to a degree process that the mediator in your case could get paid and you would never have to pay them? You would mediate your case, have your divorce, have it all signed, ready to go. The judge goes, boom, okay, stamp, we're done. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And I think mediators could do that if they were funded the right way. And if it was taken into account that, hey, mediation can be much more successful if you have two people that are willing to work out your differences in issues that are constructive, positive. If you're willing to walk into mediation to mediate both sides, and hey, let's meet in the middle here. And I think my opinion on this, Larah, is that 50-50 custody and what some of these bills for 50-50 custody can do and can help out with is that process where it's like, okay, one side doesn't feel more dominant than the other side because we're both equal here. We're walking into it. We know the presumption is 50-50. So why not just have a mediator help with our case? We can divide it down the middle.
Well, there's two issues there that I see. Number one, as a mediator, and a mediator since officially 2009, from that time forth, attorneys and the bar have been trained to take over the mediator's role. So unfortunately, you have litigators who are trying to be mediators. It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work well. I don't know attorneys that are amazing mediators. I'm just saying. Perhaps you guys do. I don't.
Yeah.
And when I look at the list, let's I always use what I know, Denver County. If you look at the list of 11 to 15 names, only one of them is not an attorney. Okay, so we're seeing a pattern of attorneys taking over mediator roles. Well, what would they want to do? Not resolve issues so that their pals can get clientele. Okay, so there's one issue.
Mm-hmm.
I know in Australia, over 80% of families and the family court dockets are actually mediated successfully. So mediation does work. You just need to have proper role models and people to share proper information and encourage people to do the right thing by their children. It shouldn't be that hard. But tons of us understand within mediation here, they will take our money and then just leave within 15 minutes because one of the parties don't want to participate. True?
Exactly. That's exactly
unfortunate. Especially for your children, incredibly unfortunate. And also for your wallet.
Yes. I do recall trying to go into mediation probably 3 times, and every single time there was no budging on one side of the equation. And I won't say what side that was. I won't say what side that was.
Yeah.
But hey.
Well, when I went in, go ahead.
Why does Jay want to be so difficult all the time?
Well, when I went in,
I'm getting Saturdays with the kids so I can watch some cartoons. Dang it!
That's right. With your feet up, boom. Yeah. Well, mine was useless. It was about 10 minutes, and her attorney at the time. I went in by myself before I had my attorney. I went in, and her attorney was there with her at a table. And when I walked in, they both got up and left the room like they were afraid of me. And he made it a point when I walked in to say hello. And she walked in. Her attorney made it a point to say hello to so-and-so first name, like they were good friends. So they got up and left, and I sat down with her, and she went up. She said, they want to see if they can be in another room, and I'll go back and forth. I said, this is ridiculous, but go ahead. So I sat there, and they came in, and after the first time, I said, this is going to be a really fast meeting, ma'am. I said, because I'm not going to play this game. This is going to last about 30 seconds. You're going to ask them one question. And if I don't get the answer I want, we're going to end this. And she's like, oh, okay. She went in there and I said, okay, let's go. See you later. And she's like, oh, you're going to end this? I said, we're ending this. This is useless. And I'm not playing this game with them and going back and forth. We're going to do this my way. No more their way, my way. You tell them both that. See you later. And guess where I am now?
Yeah. And correct me if I'm right here or if I'm wrong here, Larah. Mediator. Okay, let's say mediator as the title infers here. If let's say you've got a NFL player and he's got a contract and the team only wants to pay him so much, but he wants so much, there needs to be a mediator called in so they can figure out a way to meet somewhere in the middle.
Right.
And the same thing infers with, okay, you've, instead of an NFL franchise, you've got one parent, and then you've got another parent who's the player. And we've got to find an equal playing ground here where we can come to an agreement in a contract. That's how these things are supposed to work. And if one side doesn't want to figure out what's going on with the other side, they go into an arbitration status.
Right.
That's what court is arbitration status, and you do not want arbitration. Let me tell you.
Well, yeah. Well, theirs with me, Jay, was just about a smearing campaign. Even during the mediation, it was just I'm like, we're not here for that. We're here to try and work something out here in terms. And it was all just, I said, I'm not going to play this back and forth like we're in high school. My time's valuable. You know, no.
Right. And a lot of those things break down, Larah, when those issues happen where two parents can't even look each other in the eye anymore.
Well, that's an impasse position.
Yeah.
And often they put families or partners in different rooms from the beginning, just because, of course, someone sent out the silver bullet. And so you can't have the parties in the same room anyway. So It happens a lot. So you have a high conflict couple. My ex would always turn up and act like he had to be in another room from me. And I'm lovely. I have no idea when people want to be holding my hand.
Well, that's like me. I'm just pleasant. I'm as pleasant as can be.
Anyway, and it's funny because
I don't understand it.
Think about it. I'm a mediator in with a mediator.
Right.
I'm just like,
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
Jay, as far as I know, Jay, I'm a treat.
Yes, you are. You are.
And Jay is too. We are. And Larah is just a fun person. Jessie is pleasant as can be, unless you get her in a corner.
All right.
And
I'm gonna get Jessie's eyebrows going up here in a moment, because I am going to go ahead and play Jay's video for you tonight, because I know Larah has been chomping at the bit and wants to get on this as well, because it's an amazing video. Jay Missione's put out this video a while back, and I'm going to mute everybody here real quick so I can play it for you guys.
So I don't know about you, but I really feel that the term single mother is overused way too much. It seems as though every woman who is now separated from their ex who they had a kid with is now a single mother.
Oh, sorry about that. I'll continue playing here. I just want to get these messages off the screen real quick.
Now, I don't know what they teach you wherever you're from or what your educational system is like, but here in Canada we are taught what the word single means in like kindergarten, grade 1-ish. The word single means alone, by yourself, just you. So if you are claiming to be a single mother, you are claiming that you take sole responsibility of your child or children on your own, with no help from anyone, not even the father. So the reason why I say it's such an overused term is because a lot of you have monthly child support checks coming in. You have a baby father who takes them on the weekends or 3 days a week after school, after soccer practice, whatever the case may be. Or you are now living with a new man.
Oh, I apologize for the interference there.
Man who takes care of your child as his own. Therefore, you are not a single mother. Okay? Let's get it in your head. The definition of a single mother is someone who legitimately has a deadbeat father. He does not want to be around the kids. He does not pay child support. He does not acknowledge you at all, pretty much. And the worst self-proclaimed baby moms that claim to be single mothers are the ones that like to post it all over social media. They post statuses like, oh my God, my life is so hard. It's so hard to be me. It's so hard to be a single mom. I gotta do everything for my child, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, you start reading the comments under their posts and their basic bitch posses under there like, go girl, you're doing a great job being mom and dad. You got this. Don't worry about him. Fuck him. And of course, they're gonna cheer her on and just, rev her fire because they are her friends, but it's not entirely true. She is not a single mom by force. She is a single mom by choice. When you are mutual friends with two people who were once in a relationship and had a child together, you see a lot of what goes on. And especially on social media, it's just, it blows my mind how women all back each other up like, yeah, fuck him, screw him, you don't need him, you can get better, you're doing great. But really, she forced him out of her child's life. It's not that he left or he's not around, or she forced it because she's being spiteful. Yeah, I'm going to use that word again, just like my last video, spiteful. She's probably mad that he left her because he couldn't put up with her shit anymore, or now he has a better girlfriend that actually treats him right, and now she just wants to get revenge on him by withholding his child. Let me just say something before the feminist warriors start going keyboard crazy in the comments under my video. Yes, there are legitimate bad men out there. Yes, you're going to say stuff like, oh, well, my baby daddy beat me and neglected my child and this and that and lit my mom's house on fire. If you have been following me for a while now, you should know that those are not the type of men I speak of. I don't even acknowledge them. I am not speaking about legitimate deadbeat dads. I am the ones who have the title of a deadbeat dad that don't deserve it, that have never done anything to gain that title, but yet they have it. I only speak on behalf of the fathers, the good ones that are out there fighting tooth and nail to see their children, see the human beings they help bring into this world, but because of their spiteful exes, they are being withheld from them. And it's a damn shame. It's damn wrong. And these same girls will fight these men until he's up to his fucking eyeballs in court fees and lawyer fees to get every fucking penny they are entitled to for child support, but won't even let them access their own child. So the money is good enough, obviously, because it pays for her party time, but God forbid you go near my child and you tell my child the truth. Oh my. Because you know you're scared. You're scared that daddy's going to tell them the truth and daddy's going to love them more than you do. And you're going to be the one to look like the liar, which you are. I also know very many legitimate single mothers who are mom and dad to their children, and kudos to them. They are doing great jobs. They are fabulous at what they do, and they are tough-ass women. They are soldiers. And you know who those real single mothers are, because they are not the ones holding pity parties on Facebook, looking for acknowledgement and looking for, you know, oh my God, yeah, go ahead, go girl, you got this. No, real single mothers handle their fucking business, do their fucking job as being a parent. They don't need to go to Facebook to get recognition. They know they're badass. So just a little word to the fakers out there. We see you, and we know you're faking. You ain't getting no recognition from anybody besides your little posse there. So I'm gonna end this video with let your damn baby daddy see his damn children. Jesus Christ. His kids, he wants to see them. Let him see his kids. What is wrong with you? I'm gonna also add this little point in that probably no one wants to hear, but a lot of us grew up in broken homes or grew up without fathers because they were either a deadbeat or the mothers alienated our fathers from us. Whatever the case may be, take yourself back to that little girl. Remember that? Remember how you felt thinking daddy didn't love you because he wasn't around? Why do you want your child to feel that? Why? If daddy is legitimately a deadbeat and he's not around, okay, there's nothing you can do about that. But if daddy loves his kid and you're just playing games with him, it's heartbreaking. Stop it. Let your kids see their damn father.
Woo! Jay, I don't know if your mic's on, Jay, but I can't hear him.
Okay. Hold on just a second here.
There you go.
I'm going to shut this thing down here real quick. All right. Deal there. I got to adjust all of these screens here, so I apologize for the wait here. But Jessie, I'm going to get your thoughts on this real quick.
Yeah.
I fucking love her.
Oh, yeah. How can you not? How can you not fucking love her? Fuck, I'm sorry. I love her too.
Oh, looks like she's breaking up a little bit.
You cannot have to go. I just can't wait to meet her. I can't.
Yeah, I can as well. I'm sure that she'll be on. I'm going to try and ask her in the future to come back on. Obviously, we had some difficult situations today. I think that she had was working a job and somebody had quit, and several people had
it's a scheduling snafu.
Just a scheduling thing, and we'll try and get her back on. But Larah, also, I definitely want to get Laura's thoughts on this because it's very important. Some of the things that she was saying, kind of putting ladies on notice and saying, "Hey, look, let's take up some responsibility for things here."
So, women are making more than they ever have in the past. To acknowledge that and to accept the fact that mums should be either paying child support or, depending on what the child arrangement is, receiving child support. This needs to be everybody coming together, seeing what the needs for the child are, or children, and then moving forward with a cooperative plan that works. I will say that she's an articulate and forthright speaker, and I appreciate her for that. But what kept creeping up into my mind with some of the dialogue was this is somebody who's a very mouthy stepmother. And I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what it sounded like to me, playing devil's advocate only. And truly only, but also, I'm sorry, but I've been a single mom since 2004. I never received child support, basically. And at some point, I was expected to pay child support. I had said to my ex-husband, okay, and keep in mind, it was always a parallel parenting situation.
Right.
When you start looking at the little parts of the argument, if you're a parallel parenting partner and the other person doesn't help you in any way, you still you feel like a single parent. You're by yourself.
Well, I think she did speak to that though, and she said she does know a lot of mothers who are in those situations like you're in. Laura, I think she was speaking to a very, not a very, but a select group. Doesn't mean it's a.
I think what I'm talking about is the definition of being single. Just because you have an ex-husband who's willing to take the kids doesn't mean you're not a single mom. You're doing this solo. You're doing life solo. He doesn't help with any cooperative co-parenting. He just sometimes takes the kids.
Maybe.
I
don't think that's wrong.
Well,
yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure that that's kind of right. I think that what she was really talking about is those people who get on social media and they talk about how hard it is being a single mother, but yet the guy's paying child support.
And they have no help.
There and wants to be, but yet, we've got this hey, feel sorry for me attitude sometimes that and it doesn't just, and I'll say this, it does not just happen on the women's side getting on social media saying some of these things. There have been dads who have gained custody and have had the same effect. And I want to say that equally because it's very important. We have equal responsibility to our children to co-parent completely with love and respect for each other. Hey, this is your time. Hey, this is my time with my children. Let's respect those issues. Now, the issue also I think that she was bringing up as well is you can't say that you're a single parent, but then the other parent who is paying child support has to take care of the children when they have them and when you have them.
Yeah, and also, Jay, quickly is...
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I think you're exactly right, Jay. What she's talking about is the woman who's sitting home, with two children collecting $1,300 to be the father of the children wants to be an equal parent. But she'll only allow him to be a parent 4 days a month because she wants to continue to receive all these benefits. You are not a single mom. You are a parental alienator. That's what you are.
Yes.
Well, I'm not to make it too personal, but my son's mother has another child, another boy who she doesn't allow to see the father, who I speak to. He reached out to me at 2 a.m. About a year and a half ago because he was hurting. And he hasn't seen the baby. So there's 2 children that she has, and she's done it to 2. And he still, it's heartbreaking because I see that his child just in the getting my son in terms of the drop off and pickups, I see his little boy way more than he does, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem because he wants to.
Right. And Larah, I do respect you in that, though, because I think you brought up some great points, and hopefully she kind of touched on some of those things at the end of the broadcast and said, hey, look, single moms, if you are being a single mom and you are raising your children without child support because he's not around and he's not doing the right thing, yeah, he is a deadbeat in that circumstance. Yes, it is about those trying to be in the child's life. That's the big thing.
Let's cut this to the core. Mm-hmm. She's basically saying, hey, gold diggers, stop using your children as money at the end of the day.
Right.
And then the second one is, hey, especially for you who do get money, don't then turn around and suggest that the dad who is paying this money doesn't get to see his kids because it's abusive.
Right.
Right. And exactly. I was going to say too, I was thinking as we were speaking, it's so situational too, because you have, as she said, you have moms like Larah, like you have moms, and Jessie always used the term, I hear it the most with her, she's a bonus mom, which I love. But you have people, good mothers out there. Yeah. Good mothers out there that are doing right by their children, that also will not bow down when they know things are wrong or abusive. And again, I think Jessie, because what I know about Jessie and her upbringing and the things that she's experienced, they've given her some clarity on what she won't allow, because she doesn't want certain things to turn out the way they did for her in her life. It's the same as me. Look in the mirror or being in certain situations in life where you could have done better had you had a little support and honest love and, on different levels in life. So hats off to you, awesome moms.
Yes. And I'll say this, hats off to the moms who are co-parenting and doing it fantastically. Hats off to the moms who are single moms and the father deserted the children and doesn't want to be in the child's life, because it is absolutely hard when you have to be the mom and the dad. Yes, I do agree with that. My thinking on this video definitely is to concentrate on the moms who are going out there saying the fact that they shoved the other parent out of the child's life and then say, oh, look at me, woe is with me, and I need this, you need to put pity on me.
You tormented your ex. You tormented to the point where they had to actually remove themselves because they were so outraged and hurt and troubled financially and ruined. Mm-hmm. But he's a deadbeat or she's a deadbeat or whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we tend to. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeff.
So in this movement, and generally in my life, I played a lot of these different roles that we speak of. I was alienated from my biological father by my mother. I was alienated from my stepfather by my mother. And then as I grew to be an adult, or really I had kids when I was a kid, but I always actively attempted to engage their father in the role of being a parent, and unfortunately that wasn't successfully done. They just weren't ready to play the part, but I still always encourage that, and even to this day, my oldest is 21 years old, and I encourage her every single day to reach out to her dad, and that's all I can do. I never went after them for child support. I never, collected child support. I was one of the single moms who was out there doing it on my own. But once I got with my husband, and during the time I was with my two youngest children's father, I wasn't a single mom. I wasn't doing it on my own. I wasn't paying the bills. I wasn't raising the kids on my own. I wasn't doing it. And there is a different level of both sacrifice, accountability, and responsibility in each of those dynamic roles. And the mom who's out there doing it with now remarried with another family cannot sit and claim the martyr role. You can't do it. You cannot do it. You're no longer a single mom. You've entered into a relationship you've started a new family, suck it up, put your big girl pants on. It's time to move on.
Right.
Right.
In the same sense, you can't continue to maintain fathers as the status quo 4 days a month and a freaking paycheck and think that's okay and call yourself a single mom. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Parallel parenting is an awesome concept. My friend Melissa exposed me to this concept and really ingrained in me that if you have narcissistic parenting and if you have two people who cannot co-parent, the only option is to parallel parent. And it's really, it is the best avenue. You have two parents on the same route doing, what is best for the child at that moment, at that time in your care. And it's not a collaboration, but it is a correlation of parenting. And it is the most successful way for high conflict divorcees or those who, just one practices narcissistic parenting, one practices parental alienation parenting. It is the most successful way for two people to parent a child and the most successful way to ensure a productive, safe, prosperous future for that child. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Absolutely, Jess. Well said. Yeah, Jay. As you know, and Jessie and certain people that know me, I've said to my friend Brian Peasley out there in Maine, give him a shout out. He's got a memory too, a good one. So it's a blessing and a curse. Now, here's where it's a blessing too is I, much like Jessie, have been through. I was alienated from my mother, my father, who both left, and my step parents. I mean, I've had about 10 different parents and step parents. That's not exaggerating. And my point to that is alienation on every angle. And it's abuse, and it translated how I conduct myself, right down to jobs I picked, friends I picked, everything, the way I conducted myself in life. But my point to that is my memory, my son now, he's 12 years old. And I've had discussions with him. People might know or might not by just judging a book by its cover. But I'm very vocal with my boys. I'm very affectionate. And I've sat down with my son alone and said, buddy, I've held him and said, I can still put myself 12 years old, that feeling, and I've described it to him. I said, I know how you feel, buddy, when you're in bed and that horrible tense feeling and that anxiety. And he gets excited because somebody's actually, he gets him. And he's like, yeah, Daddy, well, and I'm like, buddy, just put your hand over your heart. I'm there with you, bud. So, and it's heartbreaking to me because as strong as my personality is, as Jay knows, I don't want this. I want a smooth relationship for my son because I know what happens. And I can already see certain insecurities, the way certain things he does. He said to me, case in point, this past week, he was talking about how he had been going to therapy. And I said, oh, great. How's that going? He said, I won't say anything about you, Dad. I said, talk away about me. Go ahead. Why would you, just right away that, I said, why would you, I talk about whatever you want. You don't tell me anything and you talk whatever makes you comfortable, bud, and it works for you. You don't worry about that. And he was excited right away. He said, oh, cool. Because he's just so used to that. And when he doesn't have that burden, it's exciting for a child. That's like when I sat down with him, and I do often, and tell him, and I put my fingers right through his hair, and I say, buddy, come here, give him a kiss on his forehead. Come here. And I'll sit down with him. What do you want to talk about? Anything right here? Yeah. Is there anything right here that you want to get off?
You gave your child wings. You gave him wings to fly.
Right.
You didn't clip his wings.
Right.
And I think you're right, because I think, Laura, what I would say is the adult burden that we put on children is so completely unrealistic to our society that we feel as if we can put the weight of the world on their shoulders and somehow they're not going to collapse. And I think that that's ridiculous.
Right.
It's not your child's fault that you and your ex could not get along.
Right.
It is you and your ex's fault.
Yep.
That's it.
Right.
That's where
it's and we're very in the moment. Right.
I think also to a point we've shifted. We've taken a dynamic and dramatic and really, in my own personal opinion as a parent, wrong shift in America. We're so busy worrying about being our children's friend and our children's, defender that we've lost the concept of parenting. I'm sorry, I don't care about how many comments I get against this, but thanking your children. spanking your children, you know.
Yeah, and I think that you're right, because here's the thing. I can't get over this. And there were, I want to say this because I want to update people first off as well. We'll get into our second hour here really, really quickly, but there was a shooter at the YouTube corporate headquarters in San Bruno, California, but it brings me back so much. And I know that our thoughts and prayers are out there in San Bruno, California.
That's breaking right now, Jay?
That was a little bit earlier the day, maybe about
I didn't see that.
hours ago. Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't see that. I apologize.
Yeah. And so that takes us back a lot to the school shootings at Parkland. And I will say this. We're allowing children a microphone and allowing them to speak on adult issues. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous because we're saying, hey, you know, here, you go out and you talk about this, and here's the megaphone, and go do this, to a generation that eats Tide Pods and snorts condoms.
Well,
I'm sorry, it doesn't work.
Well, Jay, as I said to my wife.
Not only do they do that, but they insert vodka-soaked tampons. I mean, come on, guys. Come on.
Oh.
Come
yes.
on.
I would see that's Jay, that's ridiculous. I would never put any sort of alcohol in my tampons. I don't know about you, Jay, but I would never do that. That's ridiculous.
Exactly right.
That's ridiculous.
What an assault rifle is. These kids have been so pre-programmed. They've been given a script to read and to deliver, and our media is so corrupt that they filter this stuff and they deliver it to us, thinking that we're not going to have any, that we're going to be ignorant and this is going to be so focused, and there's not going to be anything else that we explore.
Some are.
Option. Come on.
Well, the thing is, too, is as I said to Allison tonight, guys, I said, when some of these people, when these kids can actually, when they've read the Constitution, then maybe I'll start to listen. And a lot of them, I saw some interviews, too, a lot of them, what do you want to hear marching for? I don't know. Get out of school. You know, it's like, oh, God.
Yeah, and I saw some.
And not all.
This has been a bad thing.
Not all.
Yeah, and I'll say this was a bad thing because there were teachers that were giving detentions if children didn't get out of school. And
right.
There were some issues where children were getting beat by other kids because they didn't get out. That's just insanely ridiculous.
Right, what kind of defeats the whole purpose, doesn't it?
We've got to draw this back, and we've got to say, hey, look, it is not your child's responsibility to take on adult issues. It is not. It is your responsibility as a parent. If you want to come out there and you want to talk about the NRA and you want to get out there as an adult, a tax-paying adult, an adult that can pay for their own iPhone. Yeah, us old parents who don't know how to use one. Anyways, so
I don't.
It's your responsibility to get out there.
I don't.
Not the children's responsibility.
Well, no, it's definitely parents' responsibility. I mean,
yes.
Let's take a poll. How many of us here have taken our young children to a shooting range or to a wildlife weekend to learn about their Second Amendment rights, and also to how we deal with our forestries, our animals, and how we make a difference to our lands, our forestry and lands. Talking and walking the walk are different, as we all talk about all the time. You got to walk the walk. You as parents, we have to teach our children, and as a responsible parent, I have sons. They're curious about guns, of course. So guess what the family courts did to me? Even though I'm a hunter with a hunter's license and a gun license, I'm not allowed to own a gun. Again, part of the fraud. Right. So I said, for that reason, this is null and void. Thank you for the argument. But it also goes down to parenting. And we keep the fatherless situation, the motherless situation that's going on with the family courts, not being able to parent or discipline. There's so many issues. And it comes down to us parents. And like you said, Jay, being a parent and not letting our children have the bullies bullying up the children and not standing up for them. Fair?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and get us into our second hour here. I'm going to put everybody on mute real quick here. And when we come back, real quickly here, when we come back, Mr. Bud Veno will be reading our birthdays and calendar events this evening, filling in there for our good buddy Pete McNeil. So
absolutely,
do that real quick.
Have you ever felt? Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and we are back. And so I'm going to let Mr. Bud Veno take it away.
Yo, and so for the short term, until we have a solid middle of the show, since Pete is on his hiatus, I will do this in the interim of us solidifying somebody in the middle here. So here we go. Short list of events: April 27th, Friday, Parental Alienation Awareness Conference, 7 a.m. That's the time I confirm with Jay. 7 a.m. Shrine Club. See Rita Marie Daly for more details. May 20th, Americans for Equal Shared Parenting will host a rally in Washington, D.C. Please see Mr. Mark Ludwig, who just sent a link. As I'm saying this, probably to his video he did tonight. I will share that. I'm hoping that's what it is. I will be in D.C. on May 20th. Definitely will be there, so I implore everybody else to go out there. Let's all show support for Americans for Equal Share Parenting and what, as Jay said, our God-given rights are. So there we go. Birthdays, we'll get right into it. Today, Stephen Westerfield, Terry Ray, Angie Schaefer, Sarita Perot, I hope I'm saying that right, Jay Doherty. Wednesday, Amy Marvelli, John White, Julie Mitchell, Susie McCarley, Chris Elliott, Marianne Mee. Thursday, Shane Brown, Peter Reyna. Hope I said that right. I probably didn't. And I've screwed a few of these up, but that's okay. Jim Miller. Friday, Bethany Singel, Rad Uno, Gina Engel, Barry Pinion, Fred Walls, Valerie K. Lazarus. Saturday, Lazadia Lopez, Sarah Haas, Taryn Pagliaro, Nicole Williams, Jessica Chasmer, Drake Donnelly. Sunday, Laura Jubb, Ken Cole, Dawn Cullens, Lisa Moore, Tracy Foracker, April Leet. And on Monday, Thomas Hunborg, Stephen Ball, Pam Bonet, Vicky Lamas, Scott Carter, Julie Russo, and last but not least, Cynthia Turner. So happy birthday to everybody out there. Make it your day. It's the day the world changed because you came into it. The Far From Normal Radio Show is copywritten, and copying or transcription of all broadcasts of the show are strictly prohibited without express written consent of the Far From Normal Radio Show staff and the Far From Normal Radio Show Board of Directors. So there we go. Again, happy birthday to everybody out there. Get out there May 20th, Americans for Equal Share Parenting, Washington, D.C. Again, happy birthday to everybody out there. Thank you to Laura Thomson for joining us for the first half. It was a great first half. Looking forward to the second. Jay.
Absolutely. Definitely, we are back on the Far From Normal Radio Show. Just wanted to say as well, happy birthday to all of those out there. The calendar of events we know is coming very soon as well. If you have events or if you have birthdays that you would like us to read on the air, say, for instance, if you've got a loved one that you want to say or your child that you want to say happy birthday, too, definitely let us know, and we will be happy to read that on the air. And I know Jessie has one as well. Jessie.
I do. So today is my niece Allie's 18th birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday, Allie.
This was an awesome year. We had 2 daughters who hit 16. We had one son who hit double digits. And then we have 2, one niece, one nephew who hit 18. And our oldest hit 21. So this was like an amazing birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite. Yeah. It gives me kind of anxiety just hearing it because all that, it gets me nervous about my boys. I think Carter mentioned something about, oh, Dad, I'm going to be driving in such amount of years. I almost threw up. Like, I was like, oh, no, Dad, hold on. I'm like, just be my babies forever. Don't grow up too quick.
One of mine is coming up, already taking some driver's ed courses. So, my oldest is
bittersweet.
Yeah, and it's getting to the point where it's like, the court takes away my ability to drive. So hey, I guess you can start driving yourself over to Dad's, huh?
There you go. See, everything's good.
Both of our girls started driving this year. And at that time, our oldest also hit legal drinking age. So
Lordy.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I have to admit that I don't drive with them often because I'm probably not the best person for them to drive with because I probably do a lot of screaming. And,
no, I can't imagine such. No, that's really our character.
You know, Jessie, they make a handle for that in the car, and we call it the oh shit handle.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be.
It's really been an adventurous year for 2018, I must admit.
Yes, adventurous as well for the Far From Normal radio show as your life as well, because we went from being a complete radio show broadcast to being a video show broadcast, and this is in high definition coming to you. Thankfully to the people at Zoom. We have a great Zoom broadcaster that's allowing us to do some of these great things during the show. So we definitely want to thank Zoom for all of the ability to be able to bring this to you every single week. It's an amazing ability to be able to do that. We also want to thank our board of directors for everything that they do behind the scenes. They're giving us information all the time, helping us make decisions. One of those decisions will be coming to you guys soon, but I'm not going to say what that decision is yet because it is amazing. Oh, yep, but it will. Jay likes to
at least once a show he likes to do that. He likes to leave you hanging on a cliff. Just wait to climb back up till next week. Yeah, I know it is. It's frustrating. Even though I know the answer, it's frustrating for me because now Jessie and I can't say anything, so he's handcuffed us too. So Jay's a control freak. Every week he's controlling everybody. Good job, Jay.
My best answer to everything is I know nothing, or Ben did it.
Yep.
Right.
It's the same way. I get the blame, and it's cool because I'll tell you what, I'm excited as heck because I'll tell you what, I know what's coming, and I know what's coming out there for you guys in the future, and I'm so excited for the show and its progression and what it's going to be able to do going forward.
It's pretty awesome, Jay.
It is, and it's coming together so great. And I honestly, did you think, Bud? Did you ever think, number one, that we would have a board of directors? Did you ever think that we would ever be doing video broadcasting?
Well, this is funny. To speak to your first point you said about the board of directors, and I've said this before, but just before we were going on the show, I mentioned something about the board to Allie, and I said, that's one of the decisions. I said, I was mentioning something else, a decision you would make, and I said, talking about the board, because if people don't know, that's something I wasn't against it. This was all Jay's plan. I was somewhat skeptical in terms of how it would work. And I said to my wife, it's been genius. And it shows it's great because, again, Bud doesn't know everything, as none of us do. So if you're open to it, because this was a stroke of genius by Jay, because it really has what his vision was has totally worked in terms of bringing people, major players from the group, just so the most voices can be heard and the most influence can be, and it's really worked out in a beautiful way. So hats off the board. And also, Jay, I have the opportunity to go back and listen to some old shows. We've been doing this for about a year and a half now, and Jessie's been on with us for a while. And just listening, it's really funny to listen even from the early shows we did, because we didn't have a clue, Jay, that it would get to this. No. And in the beginning, we even said, we don't even know if anyone's going to listen, but we're going to do it because it's therapeutic. And maybe if one person does, maybe it's that one person that it helps. And then Jessie came on, and it's actually very fun to listen to her early shows. And see how the transition and the transformation, and it's going to keep increasing. Well, really, the other thing I said to Alice, I said, I'm really blessed with Jessie and Jay, and Jay's become a dear friend of mine, honestly. And then with Pete, it's really developed into something. I feel blessed every Tuesday that I get to come on here. Jessie mentions that, and I feel just as blessed. I really do.
Yeah, and Larah was cracking me up there with that Wonder Woman. That was great. And I'll tell you, the reason that
I'm being narcissistic, and I had the screen just on me, so now I have it all. I had it, yeah.
Okay, so what I was going to say is that Jessie's progression, as well as the board of directors, our vision process in there was, we wanted to get a voice from everybody in the movement, and this is still open. Trust me, this is still open. If we see a group out there that we feel as if they're not involved in the drama, they're doing actual productive work, trust me, you're going to be getting a contact from me and being asked to be part of that board, because I think that it's ultimately important. We want to get everybody's viewpoint. We want to be that voice of the movement to get it out there of what's going on. Different equations like Larah was talking about with Rule 60D. We've had Chris Howlett talking about emoluments. We've had other people talking about constitutional law and how to do different things and challenge statutes on the Constitution basis. We're getting so many different approaches. We got Randy Davis out there attacking with the FERPA. Just amazing.
Rev it up.
Amazing. Absolutely rev it up. And that's my mentor and my great friend, and I absolutely love him. The future of our children's radio.
Well, yeah. I was going to say, Jay, I've had opportunity to see more of Randy, and just, I love just very forthright, no bullshit sort of people. As I said, I'm too old. I don't have time for sweet nothings. I'm not going to whisper that in your ear. I just go right to it. I don't have time for any of the BS. So, and that's the sort of person that we tend to gravitate toward on this show. People that are, and I haven't seen enough to say about with certain people, just the positivity. And Jay, Jay's on it in terms of the board, because he came to me and said, "Hey, Bud Veno, I heard that you help out. This is Bud that does the show with you." And he said, "Oh God," he's so focused that he comes to me even. So you will get a call if he thinks you're positive. So I appreciate that, Jay.
Absolutely, and another one of those positive people definitely is Larah, because I've seen when I first met Larah, it was because I was filling in on the Future of Our Children's Radio Network, helping Miss Jody Mueller out when she was filling in doing the Jam, and amazing show, Brian Kinter and all of them doing the Jam. And Larah was a call in, and we started talking, and she came on our first program while we were still on the radio, and probably I couldn't even tell you what show it is, 30, 40 something in there, because there's been so many on the radio as well. So, and if you ever want to check those out, definitely check out the Far From Normal Radio Show on Facebook. We've got all of our shows out there. You can check out all of our old broadcasts and see a few more things. But Larah, you're so positive in this. What keeps you ticking? What keeps you going?
I think just like service in general with people, volunteering, all of us advocates, true advocates, we're not charging nickel and diming people that are already hurt and hurting, and their children are not thriving and they aren't thriving. So I think service is critical. I'm very faithful Also, having sons who are very themselves resourceful and beautiful and sweet young men, they can be naughty. I blame the Aussie because they're Aus-Americans. And, let's just be very, very clear. I think most of us come from two parents, a mother and a father.
Right.
I have a 96-year-old father who was naughty back in the day. He tried to get custody of my sisters and I. We lived next door. So talk about a child of alienation. I'm one of 5. But my mother, mother was the kind of woman that woke up. Again, she lived next door to her alienator, right? And she still had a smile on her face, and she'd sing this terrible song. Homage to Trish the Dish. Her outlook on life is so crazy awesome. It's just, I can't be down about anything for any length of time. Now, this situation and my children's situation, and my son's got eating disorders at some point when they were taken from me back in 2011. That was so brutal. And it brought me to my knees a lot. Right. And then I saw the light, or the rainbow like Bud saw, or something occurred to me that was way beyond and bigger than what I ever was. And I knew that, well, I'm here to assist the process, and you can have a smile on your face or a frown on your face, and guess what? You get way more honey. Smile. So, I think my role as a mediator has assisted with that process, like unilaterally and just organically. And so, I've been that girl protesting by myself, okay, around the family courts. It's been hard, okay? And that was back in the day. That was 10 years ago. It was the Jericho row, as I would say, 7 days for Joshua. And, I wouldn't be half the human being I was without this empathetic journey for others. Forget me, It's about our community and every one of your children, and I'm talking about everybody listening to this, your children are my children.
Right.
So there's no lying down. There is no lying down ever.
Right.
I will not lie down. Keep in mind, my grandfather died at 103 with 23 shrapnel wounds from World War I. He died of cancer at 103. My grandmother was 99. My dad's 96 now. I am living forever. Yeah. I'm coming for you.
Yes, baby.
You have to know. I'm living forever. Yeah. I'm not dying. Not done.
Yeah.
This is why we love her. And see, there's certain people and we've done enough shows, Jay, now, where there's certain people that have a certain energy, and that's what's beautiful too about the situation with Laura and I, where that there's a reason that happened the way it did. It's an energy that brought me back to her. If you actually really think about that in depth, it's irrespective of the show we did, it was her energy. And there's certain people that come on the show we connect with, Jay, in that sense we talk about after, that have this really beautiful, overwhelming energy. And it's that sort of empathy, in terms of, and sympathy on different levels, depending on what you're talking about in terms of just pain that people experience and you have. And she has that really innate ability to love and be outward about it and strong at the same time. So, Laura, second time is great, and third time will be a charm because we will have you on again. I can already feel that. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Thank you.
Exactly. So I'm definitely going to thank you for coming on the program this evening. We're kind of running out of a little bit of time here. So I'm going to definitely thank you so much for your time and coming on. We really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Thank you, Laura.
All right. Bye. All right. So that was Miss Laura Thomson, awesome interview with her, and she's
Yeah.
just an upbeat, positive person, definitely going through the whole Rule 60D issue. Tells you exactly, hey, look, that she's paying attention. She's doing what you guys should be doing out there, and that is looking up your state, your federal constitutions, looking up your statutes of your state, looking up the laws and the federal laws and the civil rules of procedure. If you are not doing that, you're doing yourself an injustice and a disservice before you walk into a courtroom, because the issue is you cannot just rely on an attorney. It's great that you have an attorney. That's awesome. But you need to know when your attorney is or is not stepping out of line as well. And that's
Right.
what you just need to write down on your little piece of paper that they give you and say, hey.
Well, also think of it like this too, Jay and Jess. You know, if you were going and playing sports, right, and you were going to go play some hockey for a team or whatever, you would practice. You would know your game. You'd know your opponent. You would be the best you could be. You'd get on the ice every day and look at your attorney as a coach. Your coach can give you advice and can try and fight the good fight. But you have to do it. You actually, and Jessie talks about that, and Laura did too, about putting your feet on the ground. And Jessie, I cannot wait until May 20th, because I had a very lengthy discussion with Allison the other night about going down, and then solidified it with Mark. And I was going to wait, but I said to Allison, we kind of watched a little bit of the show the other night, and when you said, I said, I cannot wait. I can't believe I'm going to meet Jessie Weiner. Holy shit! And Melissa Isaac and Mark, I'm going to give them that big kiss on the cheek, and everybody down there. I'm just excited to go arm in arm with you people, and with Jessie included, and kick some ass in terms of just getting our voices heard.
So I have bought my ticket. I will be flying in on the 18th. I'll be flying out on the 20th late into the evening. I haven't secured hotel reservations yet, but I am in the process. I have bought my ticket to the event. So I am there.
Yeah.
I'm there, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to meeting everybody in person. I mean, this is huge. I attended an event to this magnitude, and especially as I move into July and organizing, I've taken the lead in organizing the CAPRA, Children and Parents Right to Access event. This is going to be huge in organizing, people to speak and just the whole thing in general. This is huge. And I do believe that there are going to be some powerful people there. There are going to be some powerful people there who are going to be listening to our message and who are going to be hearing loud and clear, what it is we're fighting against, and at the federal level, their impact on the fatherlessness in our nation.
That's exactly true. And I will say this, I'm going to be looking at my calendar right after the show this evening and seeing and trying to work out the dates. If I can work out the dates and the times and everything, I'm going to do and make my best effort to get there. So if you live in Illinois or around Illinois and you're on your way there and you're driving, hey, come stop by and pick me up.
Jay, yeah, we'll get you there. You might hear this at your door, Jay.
Hey,
Veno's here, Jay. Come on, let's go.
I know Cash is a leader also in the CAPRA movement for Illinois.
Yeah, in Illinois. Yeah.
That he too would be there in Washington with us.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we've got as you guys know, we've got a pretty heavy, heavy concentration of parental equality folks in the Illinois area. So it shouldn't be a problem to get you down there.
Yeah. And if this is the case, what was that? I'm sorry?
Isn't Jessie West the
guy? I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we have quite a few here in Illinois because of HB 4113, which I am fully in support of. And I will tell you this, Chad has already written to me that he's getting on them because somehow it is stuck in committee. So we're trying to get it unstuck from the committee, which they don't want to do because they want to leave it there and let it sit die. And that's how they do everything. If you're not a bar association member, if you're not attorney and you're trying to pass a law, that they want it to sit around forever, and so it just dies.
Yeah.
Never gets voted on. And that's the same political bull crap that we go through all the time on these bills that we try to pass to help
The
parents.
political agenda is what I call it. Political agenda.
Right. And so, yeah, my hope is definitely that I can get down there. And if I can, I'm definitely bringing a laptop, and we will be doing the Far From Mobile Radio Show.
We're doing it from Washington.
Jay,
Jay,
doing it.
You're good. It's like the sun coming up in the morning, brother. It's gonna happen. We're getting you down there. I don't care if I have to throw you over my shoulder and run with you down there. A couple weeks. Lose a little bit of weight. Get a little too comfortable anyway. You put on a little bit some pounds, but no, we'll get you down there, and I think that would be great, wouldn't it, Jess? Do a show right from down there. It'd be awesome. We're gonna do it. It's not even we're doing it. I'm putting it out there. We are doing it. I'm putting it out there right now.
It's going to be a mobile radio show on location.
Yeah, and Jay knows too.
It was really cheap. My ticket round trip, going there on the Friday and leaving late on Sunday was only like $200.
Mm.
Yeah, you can get some pretty, depending on when you hit it and stuff too. You can get some pretty good rates right now to it. And I implore people, if that is the route they're going to do it as early as you can. Because you can save more money the further out you go.
I would implore some people as well, if you're going to be doing it, might be a great idea as well to get with some other people in your area. Maybe rent a van and do a van pool or something and get there to if you can. Get your tickets.
If there are people from Florida that want to go, I will cancel my plane ticket and I'll drive. I mean, I have an 8-passenger.
Well, I'm gonna end up driving. I'm sure. I know I'm gonna reach out to some people I know up in Maine and men and women I know would really want to get down there, and I think it would benefit from getting down there. And that's why I think it's Jessie. Actually, I said to my wife too, and you can see on the show last week too, where she struck a chord in terms of in a good way, where she said, it's time for people to really take action. Not that I don't think I am, but I said, man, I can take that extra step. Jessie inspired me because I'm like, you know what? I feel it incumbent upon me from the stuff that we're doing, and not just Parents United, but the role I play with America's Equal Share Parenting in New Hampshire, and just overall what we do. I think it's a great thing, and I'm going to take the time out because I think it's so worth it, as are the parents out there, and ultimately, again, the children. I think it's worth it, and thank you, Jessie, for inspiring me and solidifying that decision for me.
Yep, I would agree. I think that we're going to do our best to be there for sure, because it is so important. It is so moving and telling that in this time and in this day and age, honestly, do you think that you were put here for no reason at all? Do you think that you're going through this for no reason at all?
Right.
You are here for a reason. The divine intervention, or whatever you want to call it, the laws of nature have put you here and in this time and in this place for a moment like this. And this is your time to do something and to stand up and to have a voice. And what I'm going to say is very crucial to have a peaceful demonstration in which we are not only telling the issues and the problems that are happening within America, but we're very productively helping with solutions.
Exactly, Jay. I think, sorry, Jay, I think too is, I put a meme up the other day, and I can't remember exactly. It wasn't one I made. It was one I got from somewhere else. Really, that mindset, when you change that mindset from, why is this happening to me, to what is this trying to teach me? Everything shifts in that way. And it's easier said than done sometimes when you're in the moment, when you're hurting and you're down. It's a lot easier when you're up to be able to analyze, in that sense. Oh, awesome, Jess. I just saw a little news from Jess. That's great. But I think it is easier sometimes when you're not in that moment. But if you can change your mindset in that sense, because Jay's right. There's a reason that you're here, and there's a reason everything happens the way it does. And it's up to you to kind of dig deep into yourself and say, what is it? What is it right in front of me that I'm supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to learn to better myself, to be stronger for the future so I can win? Instead of, oh my God, why? You're never going to win that way. Awesome, Jess. And you're going to kick butt. You're going to kick butt. She's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, she is, and I think it's going to be amazing going forward. And I know that we are going to have some. Yeah, go ahead. What was that?
I'm sorry. Are those new headphones, or are those new headphones? Have you had those on for a while?
No, these are the same headphones I've always had.
Okay, well, I knew you had some. I wasn't sure if those are new ones. I'm sorry. See how observant I am. Great cop I used to be. He's been wearing those for weeks. Now you know why I get out of it. No.
No,
You're looking good, Jay. I couldn't tell if those were a little different. But you're looking good either way. You're looking dapper. You've got that swagger. Yeah, you're welcome. This is a little. Should this be getting this uncomfortable? Jessie, like, you guys want to just be alone for a little bit? I can duck out early and do my shout out.
Well, I mean, my girlfriend tells me the only swagger that I have is the deodorant that I put on my arms. It's Old Spice.
Is that the Old Spice? I get it with the black label. I actually get Jay, try the, and people ask me, and it's so cheap too. And when I meet people, what is that smell? It's that same stuff, but it's called amber. And I always tell my wife, she laughs. The spray is called amber. It's the same exact as the swagger, but it's called amber. And my wife, she always laughs because on it says, like, with black currant. You know, no one knows like what that is, but they make it. So I said, well, Allison, you know what it is, right? She's like, what? I'm like, it's the black currant. Anyone else the secret ingredient? She's like, shut up. Get out of here. Shut up.
Well, it's like the made up words that they have all the time on some of these commercials. It's just absolutely insane.
Well, I've been trying to figure out what black currant is for months. I can't, but it smells good.
I think that they make words up as they go along just because they want to.
Oh, yeah, without question.
So it's just what is a free radical anyway? Can anybody explain that to me? What's a free radical? I'm picturing in my mind a bunch of little people with signs up that are, you know. So it's quite the image. So yeah, so
I think that's a science term, isn't it? A free radical doesn't have to do with science.
Something with I think it was some shampoo commercial or something I was watching one day. I was just like, what in the world are they talking about?
Yeah, it has something to do with science and the chemical composition. Huh?
Yeah, I think you're both a little right here. I think you're both a little bit right here. I don't think we're going. Another couple hours. You're gonna have this figured out, folks.
Yeah, you know, we'll figure out. We'll be able to tell the family court what free radicals are, and they're not us. So it's gonna be all good. Yeah. Hey, we're not free radicals. We're expensive radicals. No, hey, we're expensive because we're paying child support. So hey, have fun with that one. right. So hey.
So listen, here real quick, to just give this recap. So I live, here in Florida. I'm in the Tampa Bay area. I live in Newport Richey. I live in House District 36. Okay. My current House of Representative is Amber Mariano. She's 21 years old. Whoa. I don't even think she graduated college where she assumed the position of our House of Representative. And she basically, I keep it real, right, guys? I keep it
real. Yes.
She got the position because her father had occupied that same position and then higher ups and is now a county commissioner. That's how she got the position, okay? And then her opponent at that time had passed a school uniform act in a major high school in this area, which was a big detrimental move to her position here, which at the end of the day is okay with me because she didn't support what we fight for anyways, but whatever. So she has two opponents in this area. One is I don't want to throw the names out here, but because I forget. But I spoke with both of them this past weekend, and it was really interesting to see that they both supported what I was sharing with them. They both recognize, the bias in the family court system. They both recognize the propensity to, elect mothers over as a primary parent versus fathers. And they both recognize that it's unlawful to use VA disability benefits for child support.
Hey, that's a big one. And I'll say this because I've seen a lot of groups out there, and I have approached this And so I'm going to tell you and let you all in on just you guys listening out here. Because I want you to be very, very quiet, because this term, no one is running against Mr. Dan Brady, even though I've approached him several times about child support issues, about different issues with the courts, about VA disability benefits, and no one has run against him the last 3 terms.
3 terms. I saw that.
3 terms. So guess what?
Are you running?
J. Moss bet me running. I'll say it's a might. My gut feeling is about 80% right now. So until I'm up over the edge, I won't announce it. But yeah.
I think the VA deems you at 80% to be 100%.
Oh, probably not true. Probably not true. And I'll tell you why off air. But yeah, it's interesting because I think it's the fact that we have people that are in Congress and in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, that are just absolutely, they're taking advantage of their time in office. Most of the time, they're not running against anybody, and so it ends up being just, name looks familiar here, I'm going to put you in there. And that's just insanely ridiculous. You're supposed to be representing the people. And if not, there needs to be a box that you can check that says none of the above. I still believe that.
You know, Jay, it's so funny. I can remember the first year that I voted when I turned 18, and I clearly, for whatever reason, I think back on this all of the time now that I can't vote, and I can see myself in the ballot, and I'm checking off, you know, for these people that I know nothing about them, like nothing. I'm saying, which name do I like better? And
yeah,
really, that's if you don't know, don't vote.
Yeah, I would rather someone who is educated enough to know the issues be voting. So my thought is, before you ever get in a voting booth, you should be told what a person is for and what a person is against. What a person is for and what a person is against, what a person is for and what is, okay, you know, now you know who you could or should be voting for per your preference. If you don't know, you're voting for, it's like the NCAA tournament with some women who never follow NCAA tournaments, and they, I like their uniforms, check. I mean, come on, really. It's kind of like that, and it's random, and I think that you've got to know the issues with something that's so important, like children's lives. This is what we do, why we do what we do, is parents' lives and children's lives. That's why we do what we do. Otherwise, quite frankly, the Far From Normal radio show can fold up shop and go home. I would rather it be that way, because I'm, quite frankly, I'll tell you what, I get a call from DHS once every week, and I have for the last 10 years got a call. Well, I would say that the last 6 years, because I've been more vocal the last 6 years in some of the things that I've said. Once a week, I get a call, and once a week, that call is not very nice. And they say, every time I call back, they say, "Oh, we didn't call you." Okay, but I've got caller ID. Okay, have fun with that one. So I'm gonna go ahead, and we're into our last part of our show here, real quick here. So I'm gonna get into the shout outs. Mr. Bud Veno.
Yo, and yo, Jay. April 3rd, 2018. Here we are. We call it the depressing part of the show. Jay and I coined that a while ago, the last 10 minutes. Thank you, first off, to Larah Thomson, and also to Jay. I'm never going to be able to pronounce that last name, for allowing us to use their video. Hopefully we can reschedule. Yes, what Jay said. Yes, so thank you to those two. Also to all our listeners out there, thousands a week now. We appreciate it pretty consistently. To my man, my brother, Jay Money Moss. Thank you, my brother, for doing this for a long time with me now. It's going to be a lot longer. And to Jessie, Weiner, thank you. It definitely added so much, such a dynamic to the show. And I know a lot of people appreciate you out there, too. So thank you. Also to my wife, Allison, per usual. I love you, baby. And I'm excited because I think she's cooking me something. So when the show's done, I'm going to be chowing down, making a pig of myself. To my littlest bestest buddy, Mason, Daddy loves you. And to my biggest bestest buddy, Daddy loves you. I'll see you tomorrow night, pal. I think maybe we'll get a tuna and bacon sub, pal, if that sounds good. He loves that. And to all the hurting parents out there, keep your chins up. Thank you for all the support you've shown me and to each other. I'm continuing to be encouraged to seeing the positivity and people helping each other, because we focus a lot on the negative, but there's so much good out there, and it's going to keep getting better. Thanks, guys. Chins up. And one last thing, Jay. There's somebody out there named Tunisia that helped me today at Spectrum. And I will say, I called to inquire. She gave me such a good deal. I'll say, Tunisia, I said, you're very good because I'm a pretty good salesman, and you upsold me. So to Tunisia out there, she was a pleasure. She's out of Ohio. And she said, but I was having a bad day, and I'm not anymore. So I thank you. And I said, same to you. We all come into each other's lives for a reason. So Tunisia, thank you. She's got a son out there who's 16 years old, wants to be a police officer. He's already doing a lot of training. Awesome. What a wonderful thing it was to make that phone call to meet Tunisia. She made my day brighter. So make each other's day brighter out there. Keep your chins up. Love you.
Hey!
Woo!
All right. So we're getting into Miss Jessie Weiner.
So I'm probably a lot quicker than I should be. I'm really short and sweet and to the point. Thank you guys for always bringing me on the show. Thank you for my husband for his support and my family. The sacrifices they make, the time away from them in fighting in this movement. In May, I'm going to be away from them for half of the whole month. Half of the month, I'm going to be away from them. We fight for the future. We fight for our children. And, never forget that. We're always here. It's just a message, a phone call. I mean, my number is blasted all over Facebook. Call me. It doesn't matter.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, just thank you to each and every person in this movement.
Okay, and she gets the parent for tonight. All right.
Yes.
So I want to definitely thank
I want
Laura.
something like a snake, like something scary.
Yeah, like a serpent, some sort of like a lion, like a big roar. I think that would be good.
Or you do this to Tim every night. Schmack. Hey, schmack. All right. So, want to thank Laura Thomson definitely for coming on, our amazing host, Bud Veno, definitely Jessie Weiner, and Pete McNeil, who is absent, but he is behind the scenes doing things, trust me, but it's something we're keeping under wraps. So we'll do that for the meantime. There will be some exciting things coming forward in the future. Definitely look out for them, because the Far From Normal radio show is always evolving, always changing, because the movement always evolves and always changes. It is an amazing opportunity for us to come forward and speak about the movement and speak about it in a positive, reflective light. So I want to thank all of the people who are on the board of directors, some great organizations that are represented within that. Illinois Fathers for Equality, just some amazing groups. I can't even name them all because there's just so many of them. They're just going through my head right now at the same time. But they're all amazing. And we could not do the stuff that we do behind the scenes without them and their input, because they're really representing you. When we bring somebody on, we definitely double check with them, making sure that the people that we do bring on are drama free, that they are solution and goal oriented. Those are the two biggest aspects. So if you are one of those people, if you're interested, always send us a line at the Far From Normal Radio Show. You can send us a line also at the Far From Normal Radio Show at gmail.com. If you are interested in coming on as a guest on the show, we would love to have you. We would love to go over your story with you, make sure that we can take out all of the liability issues that may be concerned with bringing forth your story, but we would love to have you on. So definitely send us a line. So without further ado, what I would say as normal, but we're far from normal. So we always say every single week, you are important, you are loved, and you are cared about. God bless. Peace.
Chins up. Yeah. Good night, guys. Love ya.